Hey there everyone, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for a new video where I'm going to be showcasing the adorable Lawn Fawn STAMPtember exclusive with Simon Says Stamp. As always with Simon's STAMPtember collaboration sets, they are limited edition. So if you love it, you definitely want to go ahead and grab it while you can. I'm going to show you how I made this snowy slimline scene. I loved all the images that were in this stamp set, so I wanted to kind of use them all on my project, and a slimline is great for that because it gives you a little bit more space. And I decided to go with a mini slimline today, so I'm going to stamp my images first and do some coloring before I start putting them on my card, of course. I'm going to stamp them with some intense black ink from Simon Says Stamp, and I'll stamp these onto Hammermill white cardstock. This is one of my favorite cardstocks for coloring with Copic markers. I thought these dogs looked adorable as huskies, so that's why I went and chose the colors that I've used today and colored them in the scheme that I'm doing. I have a white husky, and then I have the darker gray and white huskies, and I'm using neutral gray markers to color these. I thought this would be a nice color for the coloring of the pups. Once I have the pups colored, then I moved on to coloring some of the accessories. So there are some cute gingerbreads. These are, I think, are dog treat shaped gingerbreads, but I think is fun. There's also a treat box. I love the cute little lights on top of the dog house. I colored those in red and green, and then I colored the little Christmas tree in some darker greens. I did pop in a little bit more of a lighter green for some of the other pieces, just to vary things up a bit. In addition to the elements, I also colored the dog house. I picked out some E markers, and if you're curious about any of the colors that I did use today to color these images in, you can find all those details down in the video description or on my blog. I do have picture links on my blog too, so that's really helpful. And there's also links to the collaboration stamp set, which is called Home for the Pawlidays. Finally, I added a pop of teal in certain areas, which is going to be the main color that I'll use for the sky of my scene. I am going to use the coordinating dies to cut these images out, and to hold them down, I'm going to use Simon Says Stamp very, very low tack tape. You will notice that on certain elements, like the Santa hat that this pup is wearing, I didn't color the white areas because I plan on adding some glitter to those, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So here I'm working on creating the background for my card, and this is going to be ink blended with some Simon Says Stamp Surf ink. I'm using a large blending brush to help me apply that ink onto my card, and I'm concentrating the darkest amount of ink along the bottom of the card and then fading it up as it goes towards the top. That darker color is going to give some contrast for the base of our scene. To create that, I'm going to use the Lawn Fawn Forest border die, and I cut it from some white cardstock. This is going to give me a nice little hillside that the dogs can sit on. If you don't have this die, you could use any border die you want to create this effect. I just wanted something that is going to give a little bit of separation from the background and the images. I'll attach my border with some Simon Says Stamp Terrific tape. I just applied a few strips of adhesive on the backside, and then I'll line this up and figure out the best slope that's going to fit best with my scene. This is hanging off the sides quite a bit, but we're just going to take our scissors and trim this down so it's flush with the rest of the card. Now we can work on creating the full scene with our cute little pups. I am using some Simon Says Stamp 3D foam squares to attach these down. These are super handy for attaching your elements onto your cards because they're already pre-cut and they fit so well with most stamped images. If you have some images that are a little smaller, all you have to do is trim the square down and you have now a perfect little piece that can fit on the back side of your image. On some of the elements though, I did not use foam tape. Some of these smaller accessories I just glued down with some liquid glue, and that worked really well. I used Simon Says Stamp Craft Tacky Glue for that. Alright, now to decorate the sky, I'm going to go ahead and use some of these really cute snowflakes from Lawn Fawn. These are the mini snowflakes. I glued them down with some Craft Tacky Glue, and I had cut them from Simon Says Stamp Blue Glitter Cardstock. This is such a pretty color, and I thought this would look really good with the teal colors that we've chosen throughout the project. And just like I did for the forest border, I'm just going to trim down any of the excess off the edges so that way everything's nice and flush. And if you have any areas where you want to fill in a little bit, that's where it's nice to be able to grab those excess pieces and glue them into little areas that are along the edge of your card. There are so many great greetings in this stamp set, and I had a hard time picking which one to choose. Finally, I did settle on this one because I loved the fact that it included the word treats in it. So I'm going to stamp this down onto some Simon Says Stamp Schoolhouse Red cardstock with embossing ink, and then using white embossing powder, I'll sprinkle that on top, tap off any excess, and then using my heat tool, I'll set it. This is going to give me a really nice bright white greeting on top of this cardstock, which gives it a lot of contrast. And then to trim it down, I'm just going to use a mini trimmer from Tim Holtz to go ahead and chop it down into a little banner. This will get attached onto my card using some foam tape. I want a little bit of dimension here as I stick it on the side of the card. And then I did actually stamp an additional sentiment. I picked out Merry Christmas and I stamped it with embossing ink and embossed it with white embossing powder. I'm going to glue it to the inside of my card because I thought it would be a really nice way to finish off the greeting on the front. And then to also add a little bit of embellishment, I used some white glitter cardstock from Simon and die cut those mini snowflakes again so I could glue those around the greeting. I think that ties everything really well together and it's a really nice way to finish off the card. Speaking of finishing things off on the front, I decided to fill in some of the spaces between the snowflakes with a few clear jewels. These are adhesive sticker jewels from Memory Box. And then, like I said earlier, I did want to add some sparkle with some Stickles. So I used the Stickles to apply glitter to things like the Santa hat. I added some glitter underneath each of the pups to kind of create a little bit of a sparkly snow effect. And I even put some glitter on top of the star of the tree. These cute little treat gingerbread men I thought were adorable, and I wanted to accent their buttons, so I picked out a red Nuvo drop bottle and I just put little tiny dots of Nuvo drops on top of their buttons just to give them a little bit of something special. Here is the finished card with all of those cute pups. The fun glitter elements I think are a great way to add some sparkle to your snow, and I think this is such a cute card for Christmas. I hope you were inspired by the project that I shared today. If you enjoyed, please give this video a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And like I said earlier, if you are curious about any of the products, including this limited edition Lawn Fawn STAMPtember exclusive with Simon Says Stamp, all of those details are down below in the video description for you. Thanks again for watching. I can't wait to come back and share more with you all. But until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day and thanks for watching.